Hey, back on Sports Bit, Pauly and Teddy, the deep dive. NBA leaders and losers. Not about just wins and losses and ATS covers. It's how the teams are getting to where they are that you need to focus on. Offensive points per 100 possessions. Cleveland number one, no surprise. Hats off again to Brad Stevens. All the injuries, no Horford. They're number two. Come on.
Yeah, what surprises me on these numbers, again, for early season NBA, what we're doing today, we're going to go through the stats and talk about who's overachieved, who's underachieved early on, and see if we can find some value on some of these squads that we're talking about, overachievers or underachievers, moving forward over the next couple of weeks. So we talk about the offense. There really are no surprises on this list among the best offensive teams early on. Maybe the Bulls. I don't think people thought that Chicago would necessarily be in this type of sync with Rondo and Wade, giving them a new starting backcourt. But we are talking about two seasoned vets. The one that surprises me is Golden State. I'm telling you, I thought they would have their issues early on, and in some ways they have against the spread, as have the Cavs, mind you. This is not a list of teams that have been great ATS so far. By and large, they've been mediocre at best. But it's a Golden State team that has found a little bit better offensive rhythm over the last couple of days. And as you mentioned, Boston, with the Celtics at number two, despite all of those early season injuries, got to give Brad Stevens some credits there.
Yeah, the Bulls are a fluke. That won't continue. They won't continue to shoot the ball like that. You remember the days when Memphis would grind it out and play physical defense. Not anymore. Not this team.
Well, I mean, this when we go through the offensive stats, you look at the bottom of the NBA, you have Miami, you have Orlando, New Orleans, Memphis, Philadelphia. Again, no huge surprises on that list, with perhaps the exception of the Grizzlies, a team that was fairly offensively efficient despite their slower pace. That hasn't been the case in early season play this year. But, you look at that list of the bottom offensive team, in Philadelphia laps the league once again as a squad struggling on that end of the floor. These are teams that were expected to be mediocre to bad, and so far they've all been mediocre to bad.
Great. A tip of the cap to Doc Rivers. Remember what Portland did to Golden State in the second round of the playoffs when they got whatever they want. Now, they lost in 5, but those were high-scoring games. And remember how the Clippers shut them down early in the series until they had the key injuries. Look at defense, points per 100 possessions. Clippers number one.
Oh, yeah, and it's not even close. And it's not just about DeAndre Jordan protecting the rim for the Clippers. They're also number 3 in the NBA in steal. I saw a great Doc Rivers quote the other day saying, "Our hands are everywhere right now." They're deflecting passes. You say, who's the toughest, who's the team for the Warriors that's going to challenge them in the West? Certainly right now, and based on these numbers, the Clips are the team to watch out for. I like the chemistry of that squad. Their core has been together for a number of years now, despite the injuries, and they've come out of the gate playing defense at a championship level.
Yeah, at the bottom, you got Sacramento, Houston, Indiana, Boston, and New York. How about the Knicks? Hornacek turns the D over to Kurt Rambis already.
Yeah, here's the quote. "I just felt we're probably better off with just one voice. So Kurt, we're going to have him be the voice on defense." Apparently, what had been going on early was that multiple assistant coaches were giving defensive coaching advice to players, and there wasn't a consistent message. Of course, when you're allowing more than 110 points per 100 possessions, that's good. But again, we talked about Boston's offense. Look at their defense. Not good. Indiana, point spread underachiever early on. Not good. With Sacramento, you can make the case, all right, they've had a real tough schedule early on. When you play 5 and 7 night on the road in the first 2 weeks of the season, that's a tough way to open the campaign. And of course, the Rockets, we already know they're not going to play any defense, but that's what, the Mike D'Antoni system.
Sell the Knicks. Sell. Phil's now unhappy that they're not running enough triangle.
Yeah.
That doesn't work in today's basketball, Phil. Get a clue. You need Jordan and Pippen to run that garbage, or Shaq and Kobe. Everyone shoots the threes. Give me a break.
Stop with that garbage. That garbage won how many titles?
Oh my God! You can't run that kind of basketball now. You had Kobe and Shaq and Jordan and Pippen.
I know.
You can't run a triangle offense now.
I don't disagree.
What's wrong with you?
That being said, Phil Jackson got 10 rings on his fingers. And I'm not going to say, no, Phil, no, you can't do what you want to do. Carmelo Anthony is not Michael Jordan. Derrick Rose is not Kobe Bryant. And that's the issue that the Knicks are having, as much as they're not, playing in Jackson's preferred style.
Yeah, I think he's got 11 rings. In any event, how about the rebounding?
He does have 11 rings. You're right. Rebounding, Bulls number 1 in the NBA. And again, Chicago being that surprise team that the wise guys all hated. And here they are dominating the glass. Denver and Oklahoma City, the Nuggets, a team you definitely want to watch out for in this regard. They are. I like Mike Malone, and I like what he's doing with the Nuggets early on. Even though they lost a heartbreaker last night, still got the money in that ballgame. But the two big men, Nurkic and Jokic, are taking care of business in the low post for the Nuggets. And no surprise, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and the disappointing Minnesota T-Wolves. And of course, Kenneth Faried's another guy on Denver. He's getting at 8.5 boards per game, despite getting only 22 minutes of playing time off the bench. He's always been instant energy. That hasn't changed this season.
At the bottom, look at this. Here's the Knicks again. Terrible on defense and rebounding both. What's the deal there? And how does Anthony Davis feel? He leads the league in total rebounds, and his team's dead last.
Yeah, well, Davis tied for number 3 in the league in total rebounds. But yeah, I mean, it's the Pelicans are really rough right now. We cashed a ticket with them the other night at plus 17, only because it was plus 17. They're not a team that I have on my I want this squad. And when you have Anthony Davis and you're dead last in the NBA in rebounding percentage, that's an issue. For the Knicks, I mean, when you're terrible on defense and terrible on rebounding, to me, that speaks lack of heart for New York. I'm not convinced the Jeff Hornacek era is going to go any better than any of the other recent eras for James Dolan's New York Knickerbockers.
Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Go to sbrodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.